Hi, I'm Vanessa Lavorato, founder of Marigold Sweets Chocolates, and today we are making cannabis-infused Cheez-Its. So first thing we need to do to make these Cheez-Its is to get our weed. This is an 1/8 of Platinum OG. I'm not gonna grind this before I make a butter or before I decarb it. Most of the crystals are on the outside of the plant, and also during the infusion process, it really gets all of those cannabinoids. Just break off the stems. Decarboxylation just means that you heat weed. That's it. You're activating the THCA to THC. And there are a ton of different ways you can do that. Think of all the ways you can apply heat. You can do gentle, you can do a sous vide decarb, or you can do what we're gonna do today, which is in the oven. There's gonna be loss in the decarb or activation process. And then also just when you're making your infusion, butter getting stuck to the side of the pan, you didn't scrape your bowl all the way, there's always loss. We're gonna get like 0.5 milligrams per Cheez-It. If you like Cheez-Its as much as I do, is perfect. I have some parchment paper here, and you're just gonna make a little pouch. Nothing sticks to parchment. And then I put this weed in. You can break it up a little more than this if you want. I don't break it up too much. Spread it out. And this is to also like keep in the smell. So I'm just trying to get this air out. See? Kind of like gets it nice and flat. Oven's at 245 Fahrenheit. I'm gonna pop this in there for 30 to 45 minutes. This has been decarbing for 40 minutes. All set. It's very simple. It gets a little toasty, but we're gonna do the double boiler method. Not because weed can't be heated. We just heated it at 245. It's fine, there's no CBN, I've tested it. Butter is not the most efficient way to infuse because it is an emulsion of water and milk solids and fat. And so when you heat it, just like when you heat chocolate, you're breaking that down, you're breaking down the crystal structure, and you can't heat it over a certain temperature, otherwise you get brown butter. Because we have to keep the temperature so low, below boiling, in order to preserve the water in the butter and keep it butter. Coconut oil is a great fat, even olive oil, anything that you can heat above a boiling point. The higher the temperature, the faster the infusion, the less babying involved. Like you can do it in 10 to 15 minutes versus this is gonna take an hour to do this process. For that reason, I'm gonna take 3/4 of this stick of butter and put it into my little double boiler. I'm gonna preserve this and I'll show you why later. And then we're just gonna take the weed just like this and we're gonna dump it in. Light your double boiler. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of water. It's gonna have some evaporation happening. So we got our weed butter here on the double boiler. It's been going for about an hour. Looks good. You can see it's like getting a little foamy, but not too hot. This is good to me. I'm just gonna use a strainer. I don't mind a little bit of plant in my butter. What I like to do is take this butter to train the crystals in this butter to behave like that and be an emulsion, to be smooth and creamy. Like if you've ever put butter in the microwave and you have it separate and it's like crystally and kind of grainy, it's never the same, right? Once you heat it up. This is how you make it so that it's smooth and creamy again. We're tempering the butter like you would temper chocolate. I've always wanted to do this because it's like such a nerdy thing to do. You can keep stirring this until it's totally smooth, but do you see how it's kind of creamy and it's not like all separated? I haven't totally smashed out all of the seed butter to make it very smooth, but I'll show you. I made one and it should look like this. It should look like butter. See how that spreads? Sure, there's a little herbage in there. We don't mind a little herb, but it should be smooth and creamy. It shouldn't be grainy at all. This is 8 tablespoons, half a cup of weed butter. We put 87.5 milligrams per tablespoon. That was an 1/8 of weed at 26% THCA. We were calculating some loss there, and this is gonna go into our Cheez-It recipe, and we need 2 tablespoons would be 175 milligrams. This makes about 150 Cheez-Its. I kinda want it to be half a milligram each per Cheez-It so that I can just like smash my face with them. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of the weed butter. 13 grams is a tablespoon. To offset, to make it so it's less potent, I'm just gonna use regular butter. And if you wanna make it more potent, put more wheat into your butter. So 26 grams of butter, 60 grams of cream cheese. Grate your cheese. You wanna grate it on the small side. So if you need to use a microplane, use a microplane. You could do it in like a KitchenAid blender. This is white cheddar, aged like 20 years. Cheez-Its are like ultimate snack. When you think of snack food, you totally think of Cheez-Its. I mean, I guess you have goldfish too, but I feel like they're adult goldfish, basically. Because I mean, I have no shame in eating goldfish, but we don't make edibles for kids. So this was, of all the edibles I've made, I will say this is the one that like, I didn't really care how high I was gonna get because I just wanted to keep eating them. So that's why I'm like, yeah, we gotta microdose this because I'm trying to think of my future self. So we have all of our cheeses, the 2 ounces of cheddar, or 4 ounces total, white and orange, and then the cream cheese, and then our infused butter, and you just kind of smoosh it all together. I just like to do things by hand, mainly because I don't like to do the dishes, and like this is easier to clean. It's like labor in one way or another, right? So once it like all kind of looks mixed enough, take a shot of cheese, put it in your mouth, keep mixing a little bit. See how it kind of looks like a paste? Half a cup of flour, 60 grams. I cracked some black pepper in there just for good measure. Mix this up, and this is gonna get crumbly. I'm actually gonna use a pie cutter. Cut your flour into your fat, and you want it to be like a crumble. I have a club. I started it for quarantine. It's on Patreon, and it's called the Edible Club, and I do a weekly live stream of edible recipes, and I just teach you how to infuse at home. And like really, it's just me. Sometimes I fuck up in the kitchen, all the time. That's how you learn. You can't learn if you don't fuck up. A little vinegar. This is celery vinegar. You could use apple cider vinegar. This is gonna give you some acid. Take some salt, half a teaspoon. This is just some kosher salt. Give it a little stirry stir and pour it in. Just toss it, mix it, and then the Silpat. There's no other way to do this. Don't try. I'm sorry that you need a Silpat to make this recipe. You should just have one anyway because they really do make life a lot easier. See how it doesn't stick to the silicone? That's what's great about it. Take some plastic wrap. So then I just kind of form this into a disc and then just smush it out. In your fridge, what that's gonna do is hydrate the flour fully, just spreads out that moisture and lets it rest a little bit, lets the gluten rest. You can leave it for an hour. You can do this the day before, leave it overnight, whatever you wanna do. First time I found out about edibles was the story that my mom told me about my uncles making brownies, and then she ate a bunch of them, like she ate the whole plate of brownies and she got really high. So I knew that you could put weed in food, but it wasn't until I was at Berkeley that I really started like testing and trying out recipes and seeing what worked. And then caramel just made sense because of the shelf life. It just lasts for so long that I was like, yeah, let's do caramel. When I first started, they were horrible. They were like so loose. The caramel, I wrapped them in tin foil. It would like stick to the tin foil. You might be eating some of the tin foil. The thing about edibles is it's great if they taste good, but the main goal is that they get you high. So people were very forgiving, and I slowly taught myself how to make caramel, how to make chocolate, how to temper chocolate. That was like a real lesson for me. Just, yeah, I don't know, I'm stubborn. It's called being a testadura. And I just kept going. Well, now we roll it out. And I want you to know, you have to roll it thin. When I say 10 by 15, I mean 10 by 15, which is, I like this Silpat because it has like a little 10 by 15 rectangle. Working from the inside out, try not to push over the edges. My biggest piece of advice for people who don't know their dose for edibles is to start low. You can always eat more. It's not like alcohol where you feel intoxicated after a little bit. After a shot, you kind of got that buzz going on. With edibles, it takes an hour or two. It creeps up on you. Always be thinking of your future self. They don't want to be way too high. Don't eat too much. Eat less. And if you're cooking with it, even though you can smoke an eighth, that doesn't mean you should necessarily put like an eighth into a dozen cookies. We're putting an eighth of an eighth into like 150 Cheez-Its. It's not that much, right? You don't need that much to get high unless you know you have a high tolerance. And if you know, you know. That's my biggest thing, is figure out what your dose is. Look see how beautifully that rolled out? Happy, look at all that pepper. It's like a cacio pepe Cheez-It. So we've rolled this out. I'm gonna cut these in 1 by 1 squares. And yes, I am using a ruler. You don't have to if you don't want to. So when you can cut it more precisely, you'll know that each Cheez-It is roughly the same amount. Like, just take the time. This is an important part of this process. I don't know if you actually need to do this, but I know that Cheez-Its have a hole in the middle of them. I think it's to let the air out. So we're gonna do it, and also this just is a really fun thing to do. We're gonna put them on the pan, just like this, and this is also why the Silpat is so great. Look at that transfer, so simple. The edges are gonna cook faster than the inside, and that's gonna be your snacking pieces. Into the oven, oven's at 350 Fahrenheit. That's the temperature you cook most things. And we're gonna do it for 15 minutes to start, and then we'll check on it. They've been here for like 15 minutes, if you wanted to, because they're not gonna stick. Flatten these out. And as they dry out and cook more, they'll break easier into Cheez-Its. But you just gotta dry them out. Bake them a little longer, they need a little more bacon. So pop those back in the oven. We'll leave it for like another 10 minutes. Yeah. These are the little snacking. Cheesy. Are they cool? They get a little crunchier. All right, so these are our Cheez-Its. You see how they're nice and orange now? Yes, baby. And we're gonna let these cool on the rack. There's like a lot of touch points to this recipe. So it's simple ingredients, easy to remember. The end result is so worth it because they're fun to eat and they're snackable and you can watch a movie with them. Just like kind of keep track of how many you eat because it's very easy to forget. I don't know how many I ate. I may never know, but need some more. They're so good. I'm just gonna eat one more. You hear that crunch? Flavors are good, it's sharp, it's bright, it's cheesy, got a little bit of pepper to it. Not really getting a lot of the weed, which is good because you don't want that to smack you in the face, but they are dosed. They're microdosed, so I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna watch some TV and do nothing and just eat these and then go to sleep. If you want this recipe, click the link below. And if you like this recipe, join my Patreon, The Edible Club. I make weekly recipes live.